What's going on, guys? My name is Chris. I'm a YouTuber who likes to talk about running shoes, and today I'm going to be a little self-indulgent and talk about myself. And I'm going to talk about the fact that I have heart failure, and I found a way to become a runner despite having heart failure. If you're new to the channel, my story is about a guy who had open heart surgery, started running, and is now trying to just soak up the running community and world and become the best athlete, YouTuber, runner he can be, and have you follow along in that journey. So please consider subscribing below. It would mean a lot to me. Before we get into that, I do want to say that I am not a health professional. Obviously. So everything I say is really coming from my personal experience. I can't really say what the do's and don'ts are for anybody that does live with heart failure. But I just want to tell you my story and what I've been through and how I've become a runner because of it. And hopefully this will act or be some information that other people find super helpful. I know when I started running a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, there really wasn't any information out there about what somebody could expect that had open heart surgery and decided to be healthy in their second life. And so it was really murky waters, and I was really just kind of testing things and was able to find the path that I'm on my own, and I thought it would be helpful to share it with everyone. Just so you know, heart failure is kind of a broad term for having a heart that isn't pumping efficiently or isn't doing its job efficiently. In my case, I have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is the thickening of the septum, or the muscle that separates the two walls in your heart. And I want to kind of talk about how that was even discovered in my life. So I'm 33 years old, but in 2014, during a physical, a doctor had said, "Hey, your heart sounds kind of loud. Let's get that looked at. Let's make sure that you're going to be okay." And so I went and had an echocardiogram, which is like an ultrasound of the heart. Side note: I do have a family history of heart disease. My father, my brother, grandparents have all had heart problems, but this is not related to that. Anyways, had the echocardiogram done, and he said that that my heart had a little bit of thickening in the middle, and did diagnose it as hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and then put me on some beta blockers, which it's a drug that helps slow down the heart a little bit. The whole idea is to allow it to relax and not flex as much, because it's a muscle. The harder it works, the more it beats, the bigger the muscle gets, and the bigger the muscle gets, the harder the heart works, and it's just a vicious cycle from there. So using medication to try to slow that down was the plan at that point in my life. So I was diagnosed with that. I was in college at the time, and I just kind of went on with my life taking this medication. It made me feel very tired and lethargic. It's called a beta blocker. I took quite a bit of it. And so by the time I was, I think, 22 or 23, I had just decided, like, I don't want to take this medication anymore. It makes me feel old and tired and lethargic. So I stopped taking it, went on with my life. Graduated college, went off to do my first job in the real world, which was I was a reporter for a newspaper, and it was in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. And while I was up there, I didn't know it, but I started feeling symptoms related to the heart condition, the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and kind of just chalked it up to being very out of shape. So I'm 5'5", and at the time I weighed like 190. It was very big for my size. I ate whatever I wanted, partied a lot, didn't do any exercise at all, was very unhealthy. So I lived like that for a few years, started feeling symptoms, but chalked it up to just being out of shape. And then I moved back to Indiana, where I live now, and started dating she's my wife now, and she wanted me to run a 5K with her. So tried to train for that, and I just could not get going. And I really thought, man, I'm just so out of shape. Like, I could not start jogging without being completely winded. Couldn't climb a set of stairs without feeling totally exhausted. If I crossed the street too fast, super exhausted. So went back to the doctor and said, okay, hey, I know I have this condition. I haven't really been on top of it for a while. I just kind of figured, I'm out of shape. And they're like, okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and just see where you're at. Let's do the echocardiogram again, the ultrasound, and see if your heart's thickening has changed at all. You haven't been taking your medication. We'll see if that has anything to do with it. And this is 2014, I believe. And at that time, they had, after several tests and kind of going back and forth, they had determined that my heart had gotten worse. The thickening had gotten pretty bad, and it was not pumping properly. In fact, it was more like spraying blood around in parts of the heart. It's called mitral regurgitation. It sounds terrible, but and they said, we're not going to be able to correct this or make you feel better on medication alone. You're going to need to go see a specialist. And so they had referred me to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. And in November of 2014, I went to the Mayo Clinic and met a team of doctors, did all the tests that you would need to do to see kind of where the condition is at and how severe it is. And after about a day and a half, 2 days of testing, they had determined that that I would need, if I wanted to have any quality of life, that I would need to have a surgery called a septal myectomy, which is an open heart surgery where they go in and they cut a hole. Well, first they open your chest up, they shut everything down. They open the top of your heart, and they go in and they literally kind of carve out the thickening of the septum, the muscle in the middle, to try to open that path back up and create correct blood flow. And so I had that. I had like 3 or 4 days to wrap my head around the fact that I needed it and that they were willing to go ahead and do it that week. So I had the surgery done in 2014. It was crazy. I was, in my early 20s. And I was in a hospital with a whole bunch of people from all these different kinds of walks of lives, children, older people, younger people, just like me, recovering from open heart surgery. It really, made me think about, okay, how much longer do I have to live on this earth now that I've had this done? Like, does this, it's improved my quality of life today, but has it reduced my quality of life in general? It was a really weird time in my life. But I recovered. I could tell that it had been fixed. But I knew at that point that I was an open heart surgery survivor, that I had heart failure, meaning, parts of my heart were not working properly. I had to have this procedure done to mitigate that and make it feel better. And that I was going to try to just go and live a better life after that. And unfortunately, for years, I was very careful. I did not do any physical activity after that. I was kind of terrified that if I pushed too hard or did anything, that I could rupture my heart or something like that. I mean, it was really kind of like unknown territory for me. I didn't have anybody that I could talk to or relate to in my immediate circle, or even really in the community. There weren't a lot of people that I could be like, hey, what did you do? It just didn't exist. And so I lived life like that for the better part of 6 or 6.5 years, where I was just not doing any physical activity really. Went back to eating whatever I wanted. I was still not doing great lifestyle choice things. Just not living a great life, even after I'd gotten this amazing surgery completed at the Mayo Clinic. And then about 3 years ago, my older brother, he's only 11 months older than me, he's my only sibling, he had a heart attack. And so at that point, that was terrifying because he's my best friend. And so that happened, and for whatever reason, that was the catalyst for making a dramatic change in my life, because I thought, you know what, I've had open heart surgery, I have heart failure, and I also have heart disease in my family. And if I want to live to be around for my daughter, I need to make changes in my life, and I need to try to be a healthier person. So at that point, I stopped eating red meat. I stopped eating meat entirely and went to a plant-based diet for the most part for a while. And I just started like hiking and trying to walk and just be a little conscious, trying to do things that were better for me, not status quo or worse. And I remember I was at a park one day, and my daughter at the time was, I think, 3, or maybe even 2. And she kind of got away from us, and she was like running away, and I went and chased after her. She got pretty far away, and I remember catching up to her, and then just thinking to myself, hey, that didn't feel too bad. Like, I think I just ran a little bit. That felt pretty good. Like, I don't feel winded. And this, I just started thinking about that, and that slowly turned into a thought of, hey, maybe I should get a treadmill and try to start running or something. So I got a treadmill, and in the privacy of my basement, my cave, I started running a couple miles here and there every couple of days, and it just started feeling better and better. It wasn't scary. It wasn't terrifying. It was like empowering. It was like I was rejuvenated. I felt alive for the first time in a long time. Like, I felt like my body was reacting to something for the first time, and it was. I'd never ran before. So it dawned on me that, like, maybe this is what I need to do to be happy and live a better life. Maybe running is going to be this new avenue for me, and that was a couple of years ago. And I just, as you know, Forrest Gump said, I was running. I was running all the time, and slowly transitioned off the treadmill and out into the public, and amongst the people. And I started running, 4 or 5 miles every day for a while, and then I started cycling, and that was all just like at a really moderate, just kind of doing what felt right pace. So when I first started running, and I started running consistently, I was probably running too fast. So like 8.5 minute miles, way too fast actually. And I didn't know any better. And so, but I was doing that, and I felt great. And I have a giant, scar on my chest, and I have a spot where a hole used to be, where they had tubes and things hanging out of me. And I was very conscious of that when I was running, and it was really important. And I'm still always trying to remind people that, like, that I've had open heart surgery, that I do have heart failure, and that I belong in this group of runners and in the running community. And I want that to be my mission in life now. I want to be the guy that is pushing himself to new heights and new places in the running community and the running world, but also reminding people that I'm a guy that had a pretty crazy medical situation before he was a runner, that predates any kind of physical activity in his life, and that I am going to keep pushing myself with heart failure to new heights and to new goals, and I want to be able to show people and document that so that they have a template of some sort to know that getting a diagnosis like you have heart failure, or you're going to need open heart surgery, or maybe it's something else like you have cancer, or maybe you get an injury where you have to start all over and learn how to walk again and maybe start running again. And I just want people to know that, like, there's always the next step. There's always the next page. You're never done. This is just everything is just a moment in life, and you move on to the next moment and the next moment, and you grow and you build. And so I kind of just wanted to check in with you guys and let you know that that I am coming from a very interesting place, and that my goals for being in part of the running community are to live my best life, but also be an example for others that are maybe unsure if they're allowed to live their best life with the cards they've been dealt. I'm showing you how I'm doing it with my cards. And my plan is to keep growing and pushing and getting stronger as a runner and as a person. I've completed a few marathons in the last year. I've run, since I started running, I've probably run a dozen or so half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, and I'm still just building. The next one is Grandma's Marathon in June. I'll take you guys along for that, of course. But my goal as an athlete, as a runner, is to eventually Boston qualify and be someone that Boston qualified after having open heart surgery and having absolutely no athletic background whatsoever going into the sport. And so I hope that you'll continue to follow me into that endeavor. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions or anything like that regarding what it's like to be a runner after open heart surgery. I'd be more than happy to share my my story and my tips and tricks with you. So anyways, no shoe review today. I just wanted to kind of share that snippet of information with you about me and a little bit more about where I'm coming from as a person. I do have a few shoes that I am working on right now, so we'll have that out soon. I also just wanted to share this is my Mayo Clinic heart pillow that I would wear and hold after open heart surgery. Whenever I had to cough or sneeze, this thing was legit. This helped out a lot. But all of the surgeons and nurses and doctors at the Mayo Clinic signed this while I was there, and it's one of the things that I am most proud of. I love this pillow. So next to my my Boston Marathon finisher medal, this is they go together pretty well, I think. So anyways, guys, as always, thanks for coming to the channel. I'll be back soon with a new shoe review, and can't wait to share more with you in the future. Stay healthy. Catch you on the flip side.